reason they approved of the first example with Joshua is because they subscribed to the same religion. Not because Joshua was great. They justify what he did because they feel, well, somehow, if they condemn what Joshua did, then they would be condemning their own religion. So they justify it. SubhanAllah. Imam al-Hussein is nothing like that. Imam al-Hussein, a Christian falls in love with him. A Jew may fall in love with him. A non-Shia would fall in love with him. The Sikhs fall in love with him. I have a Sikh friend who's unbelievable when it comes to the majalis of Imam al-Hussein. He's always the first to attend. He's the last to leave. He performs the matam. And then he said to me on one occasion, he said to me, how could I not love Imam al-Hussein? How could I not shed my tears for him when the angels shed their tears for Imam al-Hussein? In other words, there's a metaphysical aspect to his belief in Imam al-Hussein. And that's another thing that sets him apart from everyone else. But here's one thing. Let's not take too much of your time. The one thing we need to remember about Abi Abdullah al-Hussein is that your attendance here, albeit wonderful, albeit great, albeit absolutely necessary for the continuation of this faith, but this is only the first step. Imam al-Hussein doesn't want us to simply cry, which is very important, don't get me wrong. But all of these are preludes to something else. These are conditions that need to be fulfilled for something else to take place. One day a person asked one of my brothers, he said to him, Sayyid, I'm in a position where I see a lot of beautiful women on a daily basis. What do I do? I mean, it's very difficult. Honestly, I mean, we're living in a day and age where it's almost impossible to be a devout Muslim, a devout follower of Ahlul Bayt, isn't it? I mean, the challenges that are out there and the things that entice us towards vice and towards sin are, we're being outnumbered. We're being outnumbered by the various different ways that we could commit sins. So he says to him, what do I do? He gave him a very logical response. He said to him, you pray, don't you? You perform the fast during the month of Ramadan. Everything you do is a condition for you to reach a state of mentality that we refer to as taqwa. Everything you do as a Muslim is supposed to prevent you standing in this position from committing this act of sin, of looking at another woman with lust. Everything you do. Which is why we have traditions that if someone refrains from taking dirhaman min al-haram, a single dime which is haram, that is greater in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than every other good deed. Why? Because it's difficult to refrain from taking that money which doesn't belong to you. Other traditions talk about looking at the opposite gender with lust, which, as I said, is very, very, very difficult. But there are ways to tackle that, and I'll talk about them. But the Imam says that if someone refrains, prevents him or herself from looking at that forbidden sight, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them an exchange for this good deed. He will give them a pleasure that they will sense in this world before the hereafter. In other words, you'll get paid back for what you've done. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will pay you back for this good deed. And He'll pay you back in a tangible manner, in a fashion that you will sense, be it in a wonderful wife, or a wonderful husband, or in some other way that you can't think of at the time of the sin being offered to you. You can't imagine how this will affect you in the future, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you a promise that you will sense the pleasure now that you've refrained from this pleasure, which is forbidden. And one way, a practical lesson, let's derive some practical lessons here. One way, according to one narration, that you could boost your morale and you could help yourself to refrain from this particular sin is to think of the potentially bad things that person might have. The potential, let's say, bad akhlaq that they might have. Well, she's beautiful, all right. But how do I know that if I were with her, she would treat me well? How do I know that she's not promiscuous, God forbid? I mean, obviously, the very fact that I could see her, that she's presented herself to me or he's presented himself to me as a woman, how do I know that? I mean, they could have a disease that I don't know about. All you have to do is look into their bathroom cabinet and to find out all the prescription medications that they've got in order for you to find out just how disgusting of ailments they might have. Which is why a lot of men and women, they make sure that never happens. When they have a date, they make sure the woman or the man doesn't go into the bathroom, because if they do, they might peek into the bathroom cabinet and just see all the things that they're not supposed to see. Just think of something that you're not able to see. Think of something bad that doesn't meet the eye. And that's one very effective way of doing it. So the Imam, our love for him, our admiration, our adoration for the Imam is a condition that must be fulfilled in order to reach another level. What is that? Piety. To fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have traditions telling us that if you happen to come across alcohol, when you see it, curse Yazid ibn Muawiyah. Why? Because Yazid was known to be an intoxicated, drunken alcoholic. He was a drunkard man. When you look at alcohol, curse Yazid ibn Muawiyah. In other words, remind yourself just how evil this is. And the packaging looks very good, the bottles are very enticing, but remind yourself how evil this is by attributing it to Yazid ibn Muawiyah. Because Yazid ibn Muawiyah sat down, and as he was drinking alcohol, he would then take the alcohol and pour it on top of the severed head of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein and play chess. And the Imam says, whenever you see a chessboard, curse Yazid ibn Muawiyah. Not just refrain from playing chess or stay away from it. He says, you look at it, you curse Yazid. You remind yourself that Yazid played chess while seated on top of the head of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. That's how disgusting this is. It looks good. It looks like it can help me mature intellectually. It looks as if it can help me become, smarter if I play this game. I don't care. Yazid played it, I stay away from it. SubhanAllah, if you look at people in the West especially, and the obsession that they have with celebrities is unbelievable. Let's follow Imam al-Hussein the way those who are obsessed with celebrities follow them. Paris Hilton comes out one day with a purse which looks a certain way. She's got her dog in the purse with his head stuck out, and suddenly the next day, millions of little girls want to buy that type of purse. Let's follow Imam. I mean, you have, fans of a particular sport, soccer or hockey in the case of Canadians, or whatever it is that they play. And these fans are so obsessed with this team or with this game that they make sure they announce to the entire world their respect and their love for the team that they support. They wear t-shirts with their names on it. They wear hats and caps and shoes, and it's as if they've got nothing else to talk about but the wins or the losses of this team. Let's show our admiration towards Imam al-Hussein the way those people do. Some people might say, it's amazing. Celebrities are so powerful because they capitalize on this sense of belonging that we all need. We need to belong to something bigger than us, something better than us. Tiger Woods makes $100 million on an annual basis. But here's the amazing fact. He makes $10 million of those $100 million from his wins and trophies and prizes, and $90 million from endorsements. Now, if Tiger Woods happens to be a